You know, there's this question we all wrestle with at some point, right? What's really in the driver's seat of our lives? Is it all just fate, some grand plan, or is it the choices we make day in and day out? So what do you think? Is our path totally laid out for us like a movie we're just watching? Or do we actually forge that path with our own actions, with our own integrity? We're going to dig into this with two really incredible true stories. They seem totally different on the surface, but you'll see how they connect. Let's start with the first one, a story that's all about a serious brush with fate. Okay, so for this first one, we're heading over to Taiwan. It's about the former mayor of Taichung, a man named Hu Chih-chiang. And let me tell you, what happened to him and his family, it's a series of events so bizarre, so perfectly timed, that it's almost impossible to just write it off as coincidence.
And yeah, that's a direct quote from the mayor himself. He's not telling some old folk tale here. This isn't a legend. This is his story, in his own words, about coming face to face with something he can only call, well, fate.
So picture this. The day gets started with this really odd encounter. Just before lunch, an old man with a long white beard comes up to the mayor, and he's asking for a donation. But he wants a very, very specific amount, exactly 250 yuan. Now the mayor's in a rush, you know how it is, so he doesn't stop. He just keeps going. And then, just a short while later, his family gets into this absolutely horrific car accident. It was only later that it hit him. If he had just stopped, if he'd taken just a minute or two to make that donation, that small delay, well, it might have been enough for them to miss the crash completely. Talk about a small choice with massive consequences.
But wait, because this is where the story goes from strange to, well, downright unbelievable. After the crash, the mayor is talking to a spiritual master, looking for any way to help his wife recover, and the master tells him, you need to burn some joss paper. It's a kind of ritual offering at the scene of the accident. And guess how much he said to buy? You got it, the exact same amount, 250 yuan.
The mayor himself said that when he heard that number again, his hair literally stood on end. I mean, can you imagine? First, you get this strange warning from a mysterious old man. Then, you get a potential remedy from a spiritual master, and both are tied to this one specific number. It's the kind of coincidence that doesn't feel like a coincidence at all. It feels like a message, one he was supposed to get all along.
And the weirdness didn't stop there. It just kept piling up. Get this. The lead surgeon, who was about to perform this critical operation on his wife, he just falls. Out of nowhere, right before he's supposed to start. Then another spiritual master chimes in, saying that saving a life that was fated to end always comes with a penalty. And as the mayor thought back on it all, it dawned on him that the old man, he looked exactly like a statue of the Jade Emperor, one of the highest gods in Taoism. It's wild. It really felt like his family's fate was at the center of some kind of cosmic struggle between unseen forces.
So, a story like that, it really makes you think, doesn't it? It strongly suggests that maybe there are these bigger external forces at play guiding our lives. But that leads to a really big question. If fate is that powerful, what's the point? Do our own actions, our own choices, even make a difference? Well, hold that thought, because our second story gives a fascinating answer.
All right, for this one, we're going to rewind about 30 years. And our focus is a young girl named Hiyada. Now, her story doesn't involve any mysterious gods or premonitions. Instead, she was faced with a simple but profound moral choice, a single decision that wouldn't just change her fate, it would literally build her a brand new one from the ground up.
And I want you to really feel the pressure she was under. The situation was as desperate as it gets. Hiyada's mother is critically sick, in the hospital, and they have zero money left. They can't even afford another night of care. It's over. And then, she finds a lost wallet. And inside, not just a little cash, we're talking $100,000, a life-changing amount of money, plus a bunch of secret business papers. I mean, talk about a solution falling from the sky. This had to be the answer to all her problems, right?
Well, you'd think so. But in that moment, their absolute lowest point, with that temptation literally in her hands, Hiyada's mother does something incredible. She makes a choice based not on her desperation, but on her character. She looks at her daughter and tells her, we have to do the right thing. Find the owner, give it back, and wait.
Now, this isn't a fairy tale. Doing the right thing didn't magically cure her mother, who unfortunately passed away. But that one single act of honesty, it triggered a completely different kind of miracle.
So the wallet gets back to this super grateful businessman. Turns out those secret papers were crucial and saved his entire company from going under. And he was so blown away by their integrity, he adopts Hiyada, who's now an orphan. He doesn't just give her a home, he raises her, gives her a great education, and over the years, because of her amazing character and sharp mind, she becomes his #1 most trusted advisor. A single, honest choice forged a connection that literally reshaped her entire life.
Okay, so fast forward a bunch of years. The businessman is now a billionaire and eventually passes away. It's time to read the will, and what's inside is an absolute bombshell. A revelation about what he believed was the real secret to all his success.
In the will, he wrote that, yeah, he had money before he met them, he was already a rich guy. But when he saw this poor, sick woman and her young daughter return a fortune they desperately needed, he realized that they were the truly wealthy ones. They had something he didn't, a kind of wealth that money can't buy.
And that was the big lesson. He credited them, that mother and daughter, with teaching him the single most important thing he ever learned, that character, your integrity, it isn't just some nice-to-have virtue. It is the single greatest asset you can have, in life and especially in business. Their honesty basically became the moral compass for his whole company, and it guided him to success he'd never even dreamed of.
So what did he do in the will? He left his entire billion-dollar empire to his Hiyada, and he was very clear about why. This wasn't a reward for being a good person. It wasn't a gift. It was a cold, hard business decision. He believed that her character, which she had proven beyond any doubt, was the only guarantee that the empire he built would survive and thrive. He wasn't just giving her money, he was passing on a moral inheritance.
So, you're probably wondering, what about his actual son? Well, get this. The son wasn't angry at all. He totally got it. He saw the wisdom in his father's decision and signed off on the whole thing without a second thought. He just had one condition. He asked Hiyada to be his wife. And her answer? Perfect. She said she'd accept the entire inheritance, and that included his son. I mean, what a beautiful way to end it. It just goes to show, true wealth really is all about character.
So let's step back and look at these two stories side by side. On one hand, you have the mayor's story, which really feels like our lives can be shaped by these huge, mysterious forces way outside our control. But then you have his Hiyada's story, which is powerful proof that we can build our own fortune from the inside out, just through the strength of our character and the choices we make.
So are these two ideas fighting each other? Maybe not. Maybe they're actually pointing to the same core truth, which is summed up perfectly in this proverb. Because when you think about it, whether you're trying to please some unseen force or you're just trying to build trust and a legacy here on Earth, the answer is the same. Honest people are blessed. Integrity has real power in the spiritual world and in the everyday business world. And that really just leaves us with one last thing to think about, for ourselves. When it's all said and done, when you look past all the stuff, the money, the property, all of it, what is the moral inheritance? What is the character that you're going to leave behind? Because that might just be the only asset that truly matters.